Hello, 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 hello. Ooh, where's Mark? Hello, hello. Hey guys, I look like I'm live here. Let me tune in so I can actually hear it. I don't have any other way to really monitor my broadcast here. He's dead. Oh my. Oh, gotta dig out the backups. What a day. What a day. I don't know if you guys can hear me out there, so please feel me out while I get adjusted. We're gonna have a little bit of a different type of show than we normally do. Let me get my broadcast up. But today, I did some testing with the DRK. What is it? The Maclan 160 DRK or whatever. My gosh, why is it so? And went out, hit the parking lot with the ESC. Lots of good hopes and dreams. Okay, maybe I'll be able to hear myself. Do I sound terrible? I sound okay. I sound okay, right? Alright, so I am here available for chit chat. Oh my gosh. But today, okay, this is where I'm going to edit it to. By the way, everybody that may or may not be watching right now. Wow, that's super loud. Okay. Boom. Right here. This is the real beginning, guys. Alright, are you ready? Alright, I'm ready if you're ready. You ready? I'm ready. Welcome to MyRC channel. Today we're going to talk about ESCs. Today, the star of this episode is the Maclan DRK, the drag race king. This bad boy of a beautiful ESC, just beautifully manufactured. I mean, a full billet aluminum case. You can see it's bead blasted, anodized, silk screened. Actually, that is laser etched. Look at this super nice 10 gauge wire coming off of there. This super huge capacitor bank. Beautiful. Man, I mean this thing just feels like it's going to be awesome and perfect. And like it'll take whatever you dish out. This went out on me today during my little test runs, like the ones where you are setting your trim and stuff. It went out with their easiest setting on it. Their low traction tune. And the correct gearing in the car. And being like, I wasn't planning on like hurting this ESC, you know what I mean? Like, anyways, it went out just basically cruising it to see if the trims were okay in the car and the brakes were too high or whatever. And that's it. So this is the actually I had plans to talk about this stuff right here. I get most of my stuff from A-Main Hobbies. You can see here, not an inexpensive ESC. That's really not 260 freaking bucks, man. Jesus. So the issue I've been having with it is the blue light blinky issue, it seems like. that they are actually talking about in the reviews here. I guess it goes to show, do read the reviews. Maybe they just had a bad batch. Are these guys all recent? June 9th, 2022, May 3rd, January, October, they're all 2022. I think my bad review here is the only one on the, this one here. That's my review, guys. What's up? If you clicked in because you saw that on there, how's it going? Nice to meet y'all. Hope you guys are having a good day. Better than mine. Anyways, so I use this ESC with the Trinity double down motor. This guy here. I wish I had the motor out. And I'm actually kind of stoked that the motor isn't bad, because I really do. What's up, Jose? How you doing today, brother? We're talking ESC, so maybe you can chime in a little later and let me know what you think about yours so far. Anyways, my testing today, this ESC went out on me just during setup. I did just unlock it with the software on the computer, of course, which voids the warranty. Although if you actually read their warranty, it says if it runs a motor, then it was shipped to you with no factory defects. I do think that if I had them on the phone and was talking to them and said, hey, this is what happens, you know, which was nothing, like it drove once and stopped, you know, and I hadn't unlocked it, they'd probably cover that warranty. I think so. I have faith. I have faith in people. But I did unlock it, and I did use it a couple of times. It wasn't used just one time. It does say that, you know, if it does it once, it's factory warranty passed. Okay. And it seemed like a super awesome ESC. It has super awesome settings, like all of the launch control settings that are available with that ESC are spectacular. And the quality of the build were super, super high end. But it failed. I don't know. I've used a lot of ESCs and a lot of them have failed, but I've also abused all of those. You know, hooked them up backwards, just ridiculous setups. Like this hobby wing with a 2-turn on it. You know, this thing lived. It was just completely undrivable. Completely undrivable. I'll probably put this in my Pinto maybe. I don't know. Take that apart. And, you know, let's see here. That maclan is a $260 ESC, and this hobby wing here, I'm going to talk about this one next. This one is king of the hill as far as I'm concerned. The Quick Run 10BL120. If you guys are, I'm just going to use A-Main's website here. I hope they don't get mad at me for using their content as a source. But this is the Hobby Wing Quick Run QR10BL120 120 amp censored brushless ESC. And it is the king of the hill when it comes to basher ESCs, in my opinion. I've used so many of these ESCs and abused them. I've run Project Big Daddy. This Cloudbuster here. He weighs in at about, I don't know, 11, 12 pounds. Maybe a little less. But, oh, I'm sorry, that was on the Hobby Wing Just Stop, which is a very, very similar ESC. I suspect it's probably the same on the inside. But I've run these on 3S with 8-turn motors and monster trucks, 7-turn motors and monster trucks, both that, and the Hobby Wing Just Stock, which is a very similar motor, or I'm sorry, very similar ESC, the XR10 Just Stock. And they've all survived 3S and monster trucks and crazy turn motors and just stupid situations that they should never have survived. They have peak currents of 780 amps out on that one. Yeah, the maclan. Okay, back to the maclan. It has 400 amps per phase. There's 3 phases, right? So 400 times 3. What is it, like 1200? 1200 amps? Yeah. But I think that it's probably an assembly issue. I did go out of my way to avoid the warranty, though. So that really is on me. So hopefully that doesn't actually happen to a lot of people. Reading the reviews, it looks like it's been happening a lot lately. So hopefully it's not you. It was me. I'm going to talk about it. But my next favorite ESC after the quick run. Let's see, this Hobbywing quick run. You'll see this Hobbywing quick run in the Gravedigger episodes. I use this to power the Gravedigger. And all the episodes of my little 2-wheel drive short course trucks, I use that ESC and a just stock ESC on low turn motors and high stress situations. So this quick run 10BL120, it's smooth enough that it can crawl. It can run censored or uncensored. You can run 3S with it. You can run it on 2S. It might work on 1S. I don't know. It doesn't say that here, I don't believe. Let's see. Its specs are continuous current, 120 amps, peak current, 760 amps, which is pretty high. They suggest touring car, buggy, F1, and drift car, which I've used it in. I have used it in a lot of different things. Not in F1, or I have used it in drift cars. It does work really good in drift cars, to be honest. It is a pretty smooth ESC, and it does have a lot of programming options. You can put quite a bit of power into it without adding too much. The programming only allows you to put like 16 degrees in there, which really for a basher most of the time is perfect. You don't really need to run a lot of timing on a basher. My next favorite ESC after that, Other King of the Hill, because I have never had a single quick run 10BL120 fail. I've used a ton of them. Never had a single one fail. The next ESC is this Turnigy Trackstar 80 amp ESC. Turbo censored brushless 1/10 ESC roar approved, which means it goes blinky, which is great. I use this for many seasons in touring car racing, running just a 17.5, 17.5 turn stock motor. I use the Z-Run, very similar to this motor, the Z-Run V10, except for the one I ran in my touring car, 17.5. This motor has some really awesome tuning capabilities. Really awesome tuning capabilities. Unfortunately, it is a little bit limited. It wouldn't be great for bashing because it is limited to 2S. You cannot run it on 3. You might be able to run it on 3S, but it's not set up or rated for 3S. It is only an 80 amp ESC, but I was also using this. I used that ESC to run a 4.5 turn, and it was bonkers. It was crazy. What would you suggest for an 8 scale? Funny you should ask. I would use the Hobbywing XR8. This one here is the SCT, and this one I'm going to be using with an 8-scale motor, and probably to replace that DRK, because I mean, I don't know if I want to pay $150 to have them fix this. I'm hoping that they're going to reach out to me and be like, yo bro, my bad, everybody's having that problem with this production run. Because reading the reviews on A-Main Hobbies, let's bring this back up again, because yeah, that just happened to me today. Thursday, June 9th, 2022, 7 months ago. Maclan DRK 120 TSR Edition Drag Race ESC. Never again, and this is not the words of me, this is the words of William F. up here. Never again will I use a Maclan ESC. This is the second one I have purchased. This one, last one, day before the blinky blue light issue many are having. Worked for a few slot break-in passes around 3-second range, then stopped activating the motor. Receive signals normally with lights indicating it's working, but while only move the motor for 1/2 second and forward or reverse. I'm getting the blinking light, but it doesn't activate the motor at all. I don't get any of that like mild forward reverse for a momentary nothing. It's completely dead on mine. Purchased it. Past warranty, which, yeah, after the first time it runs the motor, it's out of warranty. Surprise. Uh-oh. What's that doing? And, you know, good for them. Anyways, okay, back to good ESCs. This Trackstar 80 amp turbo ESC. I've used it for drifting. I've used this in off-road trucks and buggies. I've used it in crawler. Well, no, I haven't used it in crawlers. Have I? No, I have not used this one in a crawler. Awesome tunability. It has boost, so you can tell it to have a certain amount of timing for an RPM scale. So like say you put in 10 degrees and then tell it to put in 10 degrees and be done by, 50,000 RPM. It'll slope that 10 degrees and from the beginning to the end. And then turbo is a timer, is on a timer, and you can tell it to have an interval of like 0.2 milliseconds. So 0.2 seconds after being at full throttle, it starts to ramp your turbo boost in. And it had quite a range of how much turbo you could put into it. I can't remember what it was. It probably says over here on the screen. Motor limit 10.5, bullshit. I put a 4-turn on it and ran it over and over again, way over geared in a drag car, no problem. I ran an 8.5 turn motor in a short course 2-wheel drive on it, way over geared, and it was fine. These ESCs are awesome. The only time that I've had one of these fail is when I've gotten solder in between the posts, or put it on a motor with a bad sensor wire. I had a motor burn up because of a bad sensor wire, and it burnt out that ESC. So, but that was totally on me, because I was like, oh, I want to work, I want to work. I kept trying to make it work. I don't know, but that did make it burn out. Anyways, back to its specs. Max volt 2S or 6-cell nickel metal hydride, 10.5 turn motor limit. Onboard resistance is 4 mega ohms. The operating current is 80 amps. The burst current is only rated 380 amps. Wow. 380 amps. That's pretty low. But you know, it sure survives some bull crap with me and my cars. I ran a 4-turn on it, 2S, way over geared in the DR10, running 45, 48 miles an hour through 4mm banana plugs, and no issues with that track star. Now in my drag car, I did also run extra capacitors, which I think that reduces the load because the voltage never drops off the same. So it keeps the ESC fed better with voltage, which I believe will make it run a little cooler. At least that's the theory that I've heard. I'm not an electrical engineer. At least I don't play one on TV, so I don't know exactly what I'm talking about. But I feel like I kind of know what I'm talking about. Not going to claim to be an electrical engineer, but I feel like I know a little bit about it. Anyways, it's only got a 3 amp VEC current, so it's not going to run big ol' huge high torque, very fast high torque servos. The VEC voltage is 6 volts, so it's not super high, but it's not low. It'll be average and normal, so you can expect your steering to be normal, not anything cracking. It is nice to have an ESC with an adjustable VEC. If I remember right, the Quick Run did have an adjustable VEC setting. I don't remember. We'll go back and look at that actually right now. Did it? The VEC on this Quick Run, 6 volts, 3 amps, same. Yeah, so these are all the tuning options. Boost timing 0 to 60 degrees. That's a bunch of timing. That'll fry a motor. Turbo slow timing. Turbo timing 0 to 30 degrees, 60, 70, 80, 90. So with just the ESC, you can put 90 degrees of timing into the motor. That's a bunch. That would easily toast a motor. I had 70 degrees of timing on my 13.5 DR10. And I fried that motor. I don't remember if I put the episode out already or not, but it was in the bug and I fried that motor. So let's go back, Jose. Let's go back to the where did I put it? Let's go back to that Hobby Wing Z-Run XR8 short course SCT. Let's look that one up. I don't know why I didn't bring the window up for it. I gotta actually bring it up here. I should put some music on. I'll probably do that here in just a second. XR8 Plus GS2. This one here is the short course. Oh man, I'm such a big fan of Hobby Wing after all of this. Hobby Wing XR8 Plus GS2 1.8 competition censored brushless ESC. I would highly recommend this ESC. 8 scale. I mean, but it depends. What are you doing 8 scale with it? Are you monster trucking? Is it like an X Max? Or a C Max? Excuse me. You know, or like Clodbuster size. You might want to go bigger than this if there is. Yeah, I think they have a 6 scale version now, and there's always bigger ESCs. Yeah, this 8 scale ESC, it's not waterproof. It's continuously rated for 200 amps. That's pretty high. Peak ESC current, 1080 amps. That thing's a freaking monster. Oh, you want to drag it? Not the DRK. I can't. I'd love to. Maybe if they fix this problem and it's not too expensive. Like, man, I do feel bad. Maybe they can charge some kind of minimum fee because I totally avoided the warranty, but man, I would love to. You got a drag car? What'd you get? What did you get, Jose? Man, I've been having so much fun. Don't get addicted to the tire prep, though. That stuff turns into such a big pain in the ass. I'll show you right here. Oh, let me get my ear back on. Oh, that's awesome. Inspire everybody. That's good. Can you see, like, the tire prep? Oh, jeez. Ah, it's kind of gross. But, yeah, so far, drag racing, I've used this 80 amp. I torture tested that thing. That survived. I did never get better than 45 miles an hour, though, and I do feel like that 300 amp current limit that one has was part of it. This guy here, these Hobby Wings, their regular Z-Run XR8 has a peak current of 1080 amps. So that should be a pretty fast ESC. That's a big difference. The next one I'm going to try, and Grandpa BB failed his, so I don't know how it's going to go, is this guy. The Z-Run Pro. That's the new one. This is it is not exactly the same. This is the slightly older one, I believe, to be discontinued. But they're on sale for like $150 or $140, maybe even $130. Definitely pick one of those guys up. Just a Hobby Wing X. Oh, 224. No, let's see. Let's look it up because they are on sale. I know it. 10 scale ESCs. It is censored. 76. You. Motors. Oh, where is it? Anyways, let's just go back. The specs are the same. But maybe it's on the Hobby Wing website. You can get them for like $150. Go back. So, the XR10 Pro, 160 amp. These have a ton of tuning options with turbo and boost, just like the Trackstar, just like the DRK. And just like most of the other ESCs on the market, even this little baby Quick Run, they do let you put a ton of turbo in there. Does it say here? It doesn't say here. Its motor limit for a touring car says 4.5 turn. That's low. That's the lowest you probably ever want to go in a touring car anyways. Like even trying to do speed runs and stuff, you probably would never go lower than a 4.5 turn. And a 5.5 turn in a buggy. That's pretty good. But look at this peak current. 1200 amps. 1200 amps. That's a lot of amps, guys. That's a lot. Continuous of 160. That's pretty good. And the tunability of the ESC is fantastic. The quality of the ESC is fantastic. And the reliability of the ESC is fantastic. Don't reverse polarize them, hooking them up. That fries most of the ESCs on the market. And if it doesn't fry the ESC itself, it'll pop the capacitors. Sometimes you'll pop the capacitors, but yeah. Thank you. I did a bunch of work to the computer. Hopefully it's coming through a lot better. And I'm actually paying attention to the sound. I think I should move this a little to the right. What do you think, Mom? Anyways, Jose, for drag racing, that seems like a good place to start. Grandpa BB, he got his up to like 58 miles an hour. And I think a 4.5, I'm sorry, not 4.5. With a 4.5, he ran, I want to say 2.48 or something like that. 2.48 with a 4.5 turn in that Z run. This Z run right here. Oh, right there. Gotta get used to the new setup. I have also used this Reedy Blackbox 510R for drag racing. This ESC has been fantastic. It has survived a lot of just plain abuse with being overgeared and on a two-turn Phantom. This one that's attached to this quick run. This guy here. This beautiful motor I got on sale for like, God, I want to say $40. Urgh. You can barely turn that by hand. Oh, it's such a heavy magnet. This would run that, I think, but you're not going to go more than 45 miles an hour. I had a bunch of capacitors on it and stuff. It survived. I don't know if it would without the extra capacitors that I had put on it, but definitely, obviously, if you're going to subscribe to its 10-turn limit, that gets you into some outlaw classes and stuff. And I will vouch for this for being a very reliable ESC, as long as you don't hook it up backwards or put it on a bad motor and like cook it. As long as you don't overly abuse it, it's a very reliable ESC, in my opinion. I haven't had a bad one just come out of the box that way. This 510R, I abused the crap out of it in the DR10, and tons of timing. It's super adjustable. You can put a ton of timing in boost and in turbo, just the same as the other ESCs. So you can tell it to start bringing in timing at like 1,000 RPM and be done bringing in all the timing, you know, from like 0 to 100,000 RPM or something is the stages you can set it to, and up to 60 degrees for boost. And then for turbo, it had a pretty wide range for the timing. Does it say on here at all? Some of them say what you can set those to, but it does have a pretty wide range for the time before the turbo comes in after full throttle. And then the slew rates were also pretty highly adjustable on those. And this Reedy Black Box, that's an awesome high quality ESC that will take a lot of abuse, no issues. And highly adjustable. I would definitely recommend one of those. Just go ahead and go straight to the 8mm plugs on everything. Make sure if you're drag racing, get yourself a battery that has the 8mm plugs. These Gens Ace units, I left them a bad review because they were posted as HV, high voltage. They're not. 7.4s. A-Main Hobbies, God bless them, basically gave me my money back on that. They have excellent customer service. A-Main Hobbies, you guys get 2 thumbs up over and over and over and over again, over and over and over again. You guys are the best. You might not always be the cheapest, but you're the best. So, reviewing the specs of this ESC, it looks like it can only be ran on 2S. It has an onboard resistance milliohms of 100 milliohms. Continuous current is it's 150 amps, so it would be considered a 150 amp ESC. It does not give you a top amperage setting or load rating, I suppose, or max. Probably 510, which is probably where they get the 510 from. I would imagine. I don't know, but that's what I would imagine. Adjustable BEC from 6 volts all the way up to 7.4 volts, and a 5 amp. That's a pretty good BEC. That's going to run a pretty healthy servo, and you can turn it up a little bit and not so crazy high. So it'll run most of like the cheap high volt servos, and they work pretty fast. They work pretty good. Oh, thanks, Ma. I hope you've been doing good with your healing up with your crazy mask thing that you have to wear. That's terrible. Sorry you have to go through that. Let's see, what else did I open here? The Z-Run. I'm going to be using this one next. I'm going to see what I think about it. I know that it was working really good for Wayne, and he did have issues with his after a while, but I also know that it was abused in a touring car. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. They do have a very high current rating with a peak of 1200 amps and a continuous rating of 160 amps. That motor, this ESC, is the one that I'm planning on putting in the DR10, but it might go into the short wheelbase Pinto. I'm not sure what I want to do with that one yet exactly. What do you guys think? Should I build the Pinto as like a crazy overpowered build, or should I actually just make it go as fast as I can? Like, that doesn't usually take a lot of motor to really reach the limits of how fast you're going to actually get it to go. I haven't gotten any of my cars to go any faster than I have with an 8-turn, with this 8.5 turn Z-Run. This 8.5 turn Z-Run here holds MyRC's speed record at 58 miles an hour. That's actually pretty fast, I think. I mean, some of these guys, you see them running on prep tracks and stuff, and it seems like they're running like 70 miles an hour, but it's like a full prep track. It's not no prep. And I don't know if that's like foam tires or anything either. But I'm pretty excited about this Pinto build. But this episode is not about the Pinto build, so I'm going to leave that for the next episode, which I do have a lot planned for that car, and I have all of the pieces, so that's going to start really soon. Really soon. So if you guys do enjoy my content, make sure you hit that thumbs up and like and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. But that's what I had to say about ESCs today, so I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you guys had a great weekend and have a safe week. Alright guys, peace.